Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at Barum Engines. First of all guys, I want to apologise for lately not doing the new format on the video. I've just been doing it where it's like the old format basically, just because it's a little bit easier for me. But please feel free to put down in the comments what you think about the new format versus the old format. It's always interesting to see what our viewers would prefer. I suppose the only benefit for the new format, we sort of put what's going to be in the video. So if you're not really that interested in that and you quite like the old format, just let me know guys. But before I go any further in showing you what we've got going on, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. Firstly, to a gentleman called Nick. Now, Nick was at the Race Retro show at the weekend. He come across a stall and seen a block sitting there for sale, and he thought that looks familiar. And it turns out it was a 200 Cosworth block. The stand was Shrigley Engineering, a chap called Andy there that owns it. Now, Andy has got a YouTube channel called Shrigley Tube, I believe. So if you haven't seen that, guys, go and check it out. Andy builds Hillman imp engines. Really interesting. I watched a couple of his videos. Nick emailed us on the Sunday and said, look, I'm at this show. They've got a 200 block. I know you guys have already got one, but you've just sold it. I know that's your sort of thing. Here's the guy's number on the stand. Do you want to, you know, if you're interested, give him a bell, and I can probably bring it back for you. So amazingly, I was in town on the Sunday. I've rang up Andy on the stand there. This was about 1 o'clock, I think. Turns out he recognised my voice, watches the channel, or has watched the channel in the past. And yeah, we've done a deal on the 200 block, guys. So massive thank you to Andy. Huge thank you to Nick. Nick brought it home for me. I did the deal with Andy. I paid him yesterday, and Nick brought it all the way over yesterday from Yeovil, which is about an hour and a half away. So honestly, I'm really touched by things like that. Can't thank you enough, Nick. So that means we've got another 200 block in stock. It's on a 0.5 bore. If anyone wants a 200 block, we can do that. We can do whatever you want, put liners in it, long studs, all the rest of it, but it's just nice to have one in stock. So yeah, massive thank you to Nick. It's great to speak to Andy, and yeah, thank you very much. Also, we've got something else here, look. We had a little delivery. This picture here is from another chap called Andy, and he took the time very, very kindly to send this picture over. He said he found it in his loft. If it's any use to us, then you're more than welcome to it. So thank you very much, Andy. Really appreciate it. And that is going to be going in a frame in our new office when we get it done, as you suggested. So yeah, massive thanks, guys. We've always got little things like that turning up, and I just want to say, guys, if I don't get back to people, it's because we have a lot of emails, a lot going on at the minute, but I really, really do appreciate it. It's really, really kind. What have we got going on here? Same old stuff, really. We've got Ingenium engine. So the reason that isn't together yet, guys, is we've got the bits for it. We've got the bearings, rings, etc. The crank's all polished. Pistons were cleaned up, but JR got hold of me, Josh there, a couple of days ago, and he said, look, hold fire. If you can send the rings back, they've got a modified standard piston with uprated rings, etc., that a lot of people are putting in these Ingeniums, and apparently it's a cure for the premature sort of ring wear and pistons burning out and damaging the bore. So if it is, I might look more into that. He's going to send a set of pistons down, so I'm going to have a look at them. I'll do a bit of a review compared to the old ones, see what's different. But if it is a cure, guys, and you've got one of these Ingeniums, might be worth, although it's probably an extra, well, it is going to be a bit of cost, taking the head off and stuff, but it's probably worth fitting those as opposed to the original. But this one here, as I say, has been linered, and we're just going to wait for those pistons, and we're going to stick the crank rods and pistons in there and let them have that back, guys. The caddy's gone back. That was theirs. We've got that 200 block sitting over the back there. That's gone. We've sold that one. Well, I'm going to go on about this with Isaac in a bit. This is the BDA. It's all blasted, looking absolutely lovely, and he's got the crank in there and one of the rods, so he's just checking clearances. We'll see how he's got on with that. Piston heights, etc. So we're cracking on with the BDA. We've got all the bits now for the Subaru. So you can see the Marl forged pistons, Gates belt and all the gaskets, Reince gaskets, King race bearings, so all the trick stuff there, guys. And really looking forward to, well, looking forward to seeing it get done, but Isaac is absolutely buzzing to get in amongst that Subaru. You know what he's like with his Subarus. I have nearly finished boring the BMW block, so this is like a 2-day job really to bore this out like that, and we've got the liners there sitting there, guys, so hopefully today I should be able to get those liners in this block, and I can let them cool, and tomorrow get it board faced, and that job is done and out the door. But we've got another couple of liner jobs actually. I've got the Cosworth, which we've got liners up there. I've got to stick them in there for Steve. I shall hopefully get that done in the next week. And we've got another block sitting down there with some liners. I'm going to get some more details on that because, interestingly, when they sent a picture, the company, of that on the pallet ready to be sent, in the background was a couple of interesting cars. One was a Mark II Escort and the other looked like a Series 1 RS Turbo, and I am a secret fan of one of them. I used to have one actually. When I was 20 I bought one and I had it in a magazine, Performance Ford, with the picture of me there looking at about 21 with a few pimples and curly hair, curly curtains. Them were the days. Yeah, so I'll get some more info on that, guys, and see what those guys are all about. So everyone, this is probably the moment you've all been waiting for, haven't you? Hey, how exciting, inside the container. So here it is, look. At the minute we've got the crane in there, which makes it very handy being out of the way of, of anything in the workshop. You can see down here we've got engines that are to be done but have been here for God knows how long, and the customers have sort of disappeared. This here, if anyone is interested, is a brand new, with the crank gone mind, it just needs a new crank, but this is a brand new Volvo 5-cylinder engine. Same engine basically that's in the Mark II Focus RS and the STs. So if anyone needs certainly a cylinder head or a block, absolutely perfect. Just give us a call on that. But we got various bits of our own up the side here. We've got the rack that was in the workshop at the back here, and this is just stuff that really, that's sort of our own stuff. This is just stuff that's been lying on the old shelves that we can't really get rid of because the customers may just appear. You know what it's like, if we chuck it out they're going to appear. Really, we've got to sort of hang on to it. So there's that. We've got this V8 here that's just come in yesterday that's got to have some work done. V8 there with all that stuff. Remember, that was sitting underneath the ramp. L2 TD, what's this, a 300 TDI bottom end we've got to do. And that is it really, the box that we send stuff up to CTM, and that's about it at the minute, guys. So yeah, very, very handy having this container, and already John has been eyeing up this spare space to store his Austin in. So I've had to sort of hold him back on that, because I know if it ends up in here, even though it'd be temporary, it'll be here forever. So we'll see. We might, when the kit car goes, we might get it on the ramp for him and get it tarted up, because I think he wants to sell that in the spring. So if there's anyone interested in a nice boat-tailed special Austin there, you've all seen it before when it was in here, aluminium body, lovely bit of kit. If you're interested in that, I think it may be for sale. So give us a shout down in the comments. Right, mate, the BDA.
Yep.
Crank is in.
Crank is in, rods and pistons.
Most of the pistons and rods are in. Done all the running clearances, piston heights. But Houston,
we have a problem.
We do.
It's not good.
Not good.
It really isn't good. It's probably the worst thing that could have possibly happened.
Really?
Well, I say happened, it had already happened. But
what's
basically,
happened, mate?
I've just put number 3 in, the last one I was putting in. And as you do, I just sort of looked down to put the cap on, and I noticed a mark on the crank, and I thought, oh, that's odd. It's a little...
you thought was a hair?
Well, I thought it was either a hair or a scratch or something, so I started having a look. And when I looked a bit closer, I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, but that crankshaft there is cracked.
That there is cracked?
Let's see if a bit of light, could you see it on there? Or?
I can sort of see it, yeah. It sort of goes across. Now,
a bit hard to see.
We do have a good sort of visible check of these cranks. If there's any suspect that it is cracked, we'll do a dye test.
Yeah.
But obviously we do visibly check these things. Now, whether it's sort of opened up in the heat or what.
I don't know, or it might just be once John had polished it, it was more visible. And obviously
maybe.
Checked it beforehand.
Because a lot of the time we don't, if it measures up okay,
yeah, we measure
you balance it before we polish it, because obviously it marks the journals when it's on the balancer.
Yeah.
But I know what some people are going to say, well, why don't you just dye test every one? Then maybe we're going to have to from now on.
Might be an idea.
Might be an idea. But apparently I spoke to Charlie at CTM and he's going to have a look for one of these cranks for us.
Yeah.
We have got some options on the net. We'll have a look in in a minute, but he said back in the day, they did tend to crack across these. It was a bit of a design flaw by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely fine. But if it cracks like that, as sort of up and
like
across,
if it tries to go around the journal, then
it's just going to break.
It's going to, it's basically going to like twist, isn't it? And
Yeah. Now the fact that this engine is not going to be doing any work at all is sort of irrelevant, but you can't let that go
you
anyway.
can't really send an engine out with a partially snapped crankshaft.
No, I mean this is an aftermarket crank. It is. It's been ground on the big ends before, and this is, it was used as a rally car, so I suspect that's happened. And
it's probably had a bit of a thrashing, hasn't it?
It's had a good old thrashing. So Charlie's going to look for a crank. If he can't find one, we've got
some options. They're very expensive options. So the first option is from Burton.
Okay, and that is an Arrow.
It's an Arrow crank.
At the bargain price of £3,000 plus the dreaded.
Yeah.
If that's the only option, that's the only option. I have found one actually from Max Speeding Rods. And before anyone says, we have had...
Well, many success stories with those.
Don't think I've had any non-successful stories, to be honest with you. Supplied
especially
quite a lot of those rods.
We've used the rods, haven't we, quite often?
We've used the rods in the older stuff, like TR4 and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they've been...
And the
they've
cranks
done the job in race cars and stuff like that, so they are pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
We've always checked them, and they measure exactly what they should do. They're always,
never
within
any
balance.
defects or anything.
Not at all, compared to
be honest,
some well-known.
Like you've said before, most of the especially with the rods, all the forged H section rods, they're all the same.
They are.
They're identical.
They're all the same
and
material.
Everybody says, oh no, you want this, mate, but it's.
The trouble is these days with parts, it's like you never know who's just putting their name on any old part.
Exactly.
Do you? You ain't got a clue.
Yeah, probably most of them are made by Max Speeding Rods, and then they rebrand them or something.
Exactly,
I don't know,
and with com rods especially, I've said it before, but there is the well-known brands which you knew, won't mention any names, but which we knew back in the day were the dogs doodahs, and they still do charge the money. But they ain't necessarily the best anymore, so you've got to be very careful. It's a cutthroat business,
it is.
Parts,
aftermarket
parts.
Well, it is. It's all about brand names, isn't it, at the end of the day?
So that's that. That crank's got to come out. We're going to source a new crankshaft and go through the process again.
Yeah, luckily I hadn't gone too much further. I haven't actually talked any of that up yet, so it's literally
dummy building to make sure the clearances are okay, etc.
Good news is those oil rings we were using, those different oil rings on the piston, they go down the bore and they seem to be all good. So
ring gaps are fine.
Yeah, ring gaps are fine.
We're using the Cosworth compression rings anyway, aren't we?
Compression rings. So what was it? I've got the box here. What was it? The oil control rings were from a Triumph / Saab.
Oh, Hepalite ones. So these are are they 4mm?
Yeah,
thick?
4 mil.
A 3-piece jobby.
So we use them because you literally cannot get them, the originals for this.
No, I think it's 87mm bore, wasn't it?
Yeah, 87mm bore, 4 mil.
Yeah, used in the Triumphs.
Yeah, so John found those and
John
thought we'd
with his
give
good
them a
old
go.
school butts.
Yeah,
they do come in handy.
Yeah.
So there we go, guys. Bit of a nightmare that, but we will
to see what we can source.
See what we can source, and we'll just have to get a new crankshaft at. Hopefully not too dear. The Max Speeding rods were about 1,600 quid.
It's not bad. That's half the price, isn't it?
I was going to say, yeah. So, as I say, because they're cheaper, don't necessarily mean they ain't good. Because I know the Bridgeway cranks are pretty cheap. That sort of money for the Cozzies, and they're brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what we can find, guys, and we'll let you know in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.